Well, joining me now to talk about China's participation in the Games is Jun Dong. He's the co-founder and sports industry observer at EI Asia Limited, as well as CGTN sport and culture commentator. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you very much, Gerald. Good evening and good morning from here.
Well, good morning to you. So China is sending its biggest delegation to an Olympics held outside the country. I believe 413 athletes competing in a record 225 events. That sends quite a strong message, does it not?
Well, Japan is a close neighbor, and it's pretty natural, a very logical decision for China to send a very large team to Japan or South Korea when it comes to the Winter Olympics a few years ago. I think it's pretty natural, and for the Chinese athletes, for their own career development, they want to pursue every possible opportunity not to miss a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to compete in the Olympics. So I don't think the Chinese delegation and the Chinese Olympic Committee would stop them from pursuing it.
Right, and of course the head of China's Olympic delegation says the goal is to reverse the decline of gold medals won at recent games. Of course, all while ensuring no athletes contract COVID-19. What are China's chances of placing on top for both golds and overall medal tally?
Well, I really should say that China, compared with 13 years ago, with 20, 30 years ago, the Chinese population are now much less obsessed, if you like, about how many medals their national athletes will be able to win on a world stage, because you know the situation in the country, the lifestyle and everything, the culture has been changing dramatically and very fast. I think for the younger generation, they are not looking at the medals. They try to understand the sports themselves, and actually compared with their older generation, many of them are already more familiar with the sports, including some of the newly included sports like sport climbing, surfing, and some water sports. I mean, this younger generation, they are more familiar with the sports, and they are looking for personalities instead of just medals that they can associate with during and after the Olympic Games. So you don't expect, you know, a very a good harvest of medal feast when it comes to a neighbor, because traditionally China, South Korea, and Japan may be good at some similar or the same sports, and then the host team will try very hard to use their home advantage to defeat competitors like the Chinese. So we should lower our expectations in this regard.
Right, and this issue that you bring up, really interesting, about personalities. So it's not so much about the performance, but just these individuals themselves. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. You know, I think the Chinese athletes are known to be well-disciplined, follow all the orders given by their officials and managers. But actually now in this internet age, now you can see on China's social media a variety of all sorts of self-posted short videos and introductions by the athletes, showing how their life in the village or in their hotel are all those details. They know what they can do and what they are not allowed to, to tell. But their fans follow individuals instead of the entire team, or what their prospects would be like of winning a medal. They know the personalities, they know what the lives are, and this is so important. That's why some of the most popular Chinese personalities are not gold medal winners.
Ah, interesting. And Jun, very quickly, you talk about the younger generation trying to understand more sports. I mean, China has been dominant in certain events, right? Diving, gymnastics, table tennis. But are you seeing then a push now to maybe diversify the sporting events that Chinese athletes participate in?
Right. I think that's exactly what the Chinese authorities, sports administrators are trying to do. This is a national kind of strategy to try to popularize a larger variety of modern sports, to create opportunities, to create kind of common games for the vast population to practice, because 1.4 billion people are big enough to accommodate all traditional sports and all prospective, avant-garde new extreme sports. I mean, this younger generation are not only observing and following, they are already practicing some of the sports even unknown to their older generation.